Welcome to the Solemn Yu-Gi-Oh channel where we discuss everything collecting and investing in Yu-Gi-Oh! Today, we are checking out the actual PWCC auctions that were paid for. So, if you don't understand how this works, once in a while, eBay and PWCC host these massive Yu-Gi-Oh! Auctions. And they always have some of the craziest high-grade rare vintage Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards. Now, on eBay, people can just bid and they bid each other up and blah blah blah. But after that, people still need to pay for these cards. If they get paid for, they show up on this page, their archive. But if they don't get paid for, they don't. So that's why in my videos, I always caution on these PWCC auction videos, watch out guys, these weren't necessarily paid for yet, so I will only start getting really loud once we know. And today we know, so now for our February 24th auction block, we can check out what cards went for, and we can get a little bit in depth. So, let's check this out. We have our Japanese starter box Blue-Eyes from the OCG for $127. It says authentic, so it was basically not graded. It didn't get a grade like 9, 10 or whatever. This is a cool card, a little bit of Yu-Gi-Oh! History, but again, 127 because it's not some huge grail, whatever the hell. It does look a lot like the Festa, but it's not the same thing. A Majestic Red Dragon First Edition Ghost Rare BGS 9 for $660. That isn't a lot, but again, very often, Ghost Rares really, the top of the market is not the same as the mid-tier or low-tier of the market at all. They're not even comparable. So when we talk about a First Edition PSA 10 Stardust Ghost Rare, we are talking about... What up? The card's over there. Don't you see it? It's up there somewhere. And then the other ones, you know, once you go lower grade or a less desired card than a Stardust or a Black Rose, your price really goes down, down, down. And we have a Power Tool Dragon PSA 8 for $20. Okay. This Retro Pack Cyber Harpy Lady was pretty cool. So Retro Pack Secret, some of these are just so rare. And so, yeah, even a PSA 8... $2K bucks. I love this card a lot. As a kid, I loved this art. I would love to have this in a 10, but boy, good luck. We had a Ghost Rare Black Rose 8.5 for 1.4K. So notice how it's a lower grade even than the Majestic Red, and still it went for like twice the price actually. So just be aware of that when bidding on Ghost Rares. Not all Ghost Rares are made equally. GX Dual Academy Winged Karibo, that's a cutie for $230. Then our Fortress Whale PSA 9 from Tournament Pack for $510. That's a pretty good price. I don't know. I know some people will try to murder me for this, but these TP Fortress Whales, Manticore of Darkness, IOC, PSA 10 for $330. That's interesting. I don't know. That's not that high. Some people will say, "Wow, that's super high." I don't know. I think that's pretty cheap. You know, it's not a big hitter like the top 3 Chaos Monsters in that sense, but still $330. I feel like a lot of the lower tier or mid tier items didn't get a lot of love in this block as well because you had so many high end Blue-Eyes. But we'll get to that. The End of Anubis from AST PSA 9 First Edition for $250. Ancient Sanctuary isn't very loved, but I don't know, that's not that bad. Legacy of Darkness box for 1.3, an Unlimdo. Then a Joey Starter Deck 9.5 First Edition for $510. I think this is low. This is real low. Like, I get Starter Deck Joey and Pegasus were made more. They just were in Kaiba and Yugi. Absolutely. More produced. But if you're being priced out of LOB Red-Eyes, the Starter Deck Joey one is basically the same. Okay, oh, but it's slightly different cardstock. I get it. But, you know, if you're just holding this card, they're basically the same. So to get a 9.5 at 510, I get it has no subs. I get it, but, you know, then that's pretty cheap. I feel like you got a pretty good deal if you bought this. And I feel like it's just because it's a BGS slab that maybe you didn't get what this card could have gotten. Here, a PSA 8 for $250. You could have paid $250 more and get yourself a 9.5. Like MFC PSA 9 First Edition for $305 for XYZ Dragon Cannon. That's cheap to me. That is really cheap. Like MFC, people don't realize how hard it is to still find like proper sealed MFC First Edition boxes. So to get an Ultra, like a cool Ultra, sure, it took a while for people to appreciate it. I think it was it ever in Kaiba's deck? Yeah, but it was for sure in Chaz's deck as well. I feel like this is quite cheap, but we'll see. You know, we'll see how stuff turns out. A BGS 9 First Edition Dark Magician Girl for 4.1K, and then next to it a First Edition Dark Magician Girl PSA 8 for 2.3. This 9 wasn't necessarily underpriced, I feel, given what we know 10s go for. This is not too bad. Gemini Elf First Edition PSA 10 for 2.2. Wow. I didn't even cover this in my all-time highs video. Like, that's solid. Well done. A PSA 9 also went for $500. That's cheap. I feel like you got a good deal on this one. PSA 10 Secret Rare Ra for 1.7. Okay. PSA 9 Secret Rare for 580. Alright. PSA 10 Gold for 1.1. Alright. Slightly under market, I feel, because market was 1.2. I guess market is anywhere between 1.1 and 1.2 then. We had our Obelisk Secret at 1.8. We had a 9 at 1k. A PSA 9 Obelisk at 1k. That's high. That's real high. Secret Slifer PSA 10 for 2.1. Holy hell, okay. And a gold one for 1.1. Okay, so it seems like both the Obelisk and the Slifer were probably like the same person putting in the exact same bid and winning it or something. But wow, 2.1 for the silver. I had not seen that yet. Giant Red Sea Snake from Tournament Pack for 560. Alrighty. First edition Dark Magician. That's a pretty big one. 7.1 cave. It's cool how that card is finally getting appreciation, because like, sure, we all love Blue-Eyes. I love Blue-Eyes. I will take a Blue-Eyes over a Dark Magician any day, but you know, there's a lot of people who love the protagonist, and so to see Blue-Eyes, you know, hit all of these crazy all-time highs, and Dark Magician being like down there, you see Dark Magician, he's somewhere there. I know he's off screen, but you know, somewhere there's Dark Magician. That was how it was for quite a while. Obviously, they both grew a lot, but Dark Magician was way lower. So it getting some appreciation is cool to see, especially this art. This art is amazing. When you were a kid and you started playing Yu-Gi-Oh for the first time, obviously maybe you bought a pack here or whatever first, but you bought a starter deck. You started with a starter deck because your friends were all playing with their decks, and you had to buy a lot of packs to get cards together, and that wouldn't be in deck. But you could buy a starter deck. And so what did you start with? You either started with Blue-Eyes or you started with Yugi. And obviously a lot of people wanted to Kaiba and Blue-Eyes and whatever the fuck, but a lot of people started with Dark Magician. So yeah, that's cool. SDK, first edition Blue-Eyes, PSA 10 for $21,600. All-time high for SDK Blue-Eyes, and it was in fact paid for. So now we can put the stamp of approval, the stamp of realness. And then we had a BGS 9 for Blue-Eyes White Dragon, first edition for 3.7. So that is quite cheap. I once again feel like, I don't know the subgrades. I guess I could check. Let's check real quick. Again, you know, these aren't bad subgrades. I feel like you could have, you bought a 10, okay, for your 21, which is the all-time high, but then you could have had a 9 for 3.7 for a card that obviously it's not a 10, but the difference between it and a 10 isn't that big. You know, I feel like this person got a deal here. Because remember, right now, if you want to buy a starter deck Kaiba, you open it, there's basically 3 options, right? Either you get yourself a 10 in maybe 30% of the time or however much it is, or you get a 9, usually, I guess, but even then it's not all that easy as people are making it out to be, or you get unlucky. Maybe there's something wrong. Some people, I think Lewis the other day opened the starter deck Kaiba together with Ruxin, right? And then the back of the Blue-Eyes, something was wrong or something, so I guess it's gonna grade bad. I don't know, I should check out the details again, but so you can still get ruined with these. But the thing is, if you are buying a starter deck Kaiba right now, how much are you paying? 7,000? 8,000? That's how much a first edition starter deck Kaiba is, right? Maybe you get lucky, maybe you find a deal for 5 or 6, whatever. It's in that range. You are paying, essentially, for a PSA 9 or BGS 9 Blue-Eyes. You have your odds of high rolling into a 10 if you get real lucky, but you also have your odds of low rolling into not a 9 if you get unlucky. And so if you could just get a 9 for sure at 3.7, that's not bad. I get the Gambler's Premium exists on the sealed, of course. I don't know, I feel like you got a solid deal here. A 9.5 first edition Toon Summon Skull for 800. Once again, given that you have PSA 10s at 1.5 and whatever, getting a 9.5 at 800 isn't bad at all. And again, I'm on the train of 9.5 is not a 10, and a lot of people are paying for that number 10, but when you speak from a card quality perspective, the difference isn't that big either. Are you really gonna pay almost double for the 10? I don't know, once again, I feel like a lot of the BGSs went real low. But again, that might just be the Yu-Gi-Oh market wanting PSA and not giving a damn about BGS in this particular sub. It's possible. It's absolutely possible. Then we have a Toon World BGS 9 for 222 bucks. Alrighty. We have a BGS 9 first edition Toon Mermaid for 275. We had a BGS 9.5 first edition Blue-Eyes Toon for 2K. Once again, that's low. That's so low. Centering 9. Really? Centering 9? This is not 9 centering. Look at that. Am I saying it's perfect? Absolutely not. But I have seen BGS centering so much worse than this, getting 9.5 and even 10. Like, I don't know. That's, you know, whenever people say BGS is more strict, you guys, No, no. You have human graders and they make mistakes in both companies. That is how it is. Centering in BGS to me is just roulette. And this just, I don't know. This is not perfect, by the way, but given what other things get 9.5, this is not 9 centering to me. You're getting a Gem Mint Blue-Eyes Toon for 2K. While PSA collectors are paying 3.5, 4.2, 3.3, and so forth. Feels like a steal to me, so well done person who bought the Blue-Eyes Toon. A Change of Heart first edition PSA 10 for 2.8 bucks. Yup, makes sense. Love this card. It's an amazing Ultra. Arguably the most beautiful Magic card after Monster Reborn in Yu-Gi-Oh! History. There, I said it. This card is beautiful. This and Monster Reborn are just, beautiful. There's a lot of cool other Magic and spell cards, by the way, but man, this hits different. PSA 8, first edition for 411, alrighty. First edition Gate Guardian, PSA 10 for 4.2. Wow. I mean, this card's iconic. I'm not going to argue. Then we have a Gate Guardian, first edition PSA 10, way more faded for 3.6. So it seems like people wanted to pay more for the fully saturated one. I'm personally on that train as well. I prefer non-faded cards, but there are faded collectors out there who just love that authentic old look, you know. Modern cards, you know, they don't look quite the same as the old cards, but when something is this faded, and it's not sun faded because that's different, but it's not sun faded, you're like, wow, this is really an old card. So yeah, if you're a faded collector, you just got a sweet discount basically because someone else didn't want to pay for this. Then we had some Blue-Eyes White Dragon first set booster pack, PSA 9. Well, I could have been wrong on this one for 900 bucks, and then a PSA 9 for 1,000 bucks, and then a PSA 10 for 2.4. And we had a first edition Exodia head, PSA 9 for 3.4 bucks. All-time highs right there, very strong. A BGS 9 LOB first edition left arm for 830. Feels like a good price. First Ed Red-Eyes Black Dragon LOB BGS 9 for 3.2. There have been PSA 9s selling for way more than this. Like what, 5K or something? Just more. I know. They have sold for more. And you got 3.2? You got yours for 3.2? Wow, let's see what's going on here. So, okay, so a surface of 8.5, that hurts. This final bid price is probably because quite a few people right now are buying BGS to cross to PSA. Now, it's not always the case, but very often it is these days. And so 8.5 surface, maybe there's something so wrong that it's not even crossing to a PSA 9, which would be why keeping this price relatively low. Regardless, if you're not planning on crossing, you're getting just some sweet discounts basically on these BGS slabs. Mystical Elf first edition BGS 9.5 for 800 bucks. Once again, I felt like this was theft. I know the surface was 9, but like if you're not crossing, that was a great price. BGS 9 Celtic Guardian for 510. Once again, feels cheap. It's so strong. Centering 9. Okay, this is quite off center. Edges 9, corners 9, surface 9.5. Like, I don't know. I feel like you got a sick deal here. Then we had our PSA 8 Celtic Guardian first edition again. 250 more and you got yourself a 9. Then we have our LOB first edition PSA 9 Blue-Eyes for 15.8. Another one for 17, another one for 15. So wow, we had some strong ass Blue Eyes. It's interesting how the highest cert got the highest bid. I assume because people weren't willing to bid as high on this lower cert number, because some people claim like back in the day PSA wasn't as strict, so the lower cert numbers shouldn't get the same premium. I've seen quite some questionable lower certs, but I don't know, you just have to check the card. Always buy the card, not the grade. First edition PSA 7 for 4.9. First edition PSA 7 for 4K. Okay. Trihorn first edition PSA 10 for 4.7 and a 9.5 for 1.5. Alrighty. Let's check. So once again, 9.5s all around, but a surface 9. If you're trying to cross this, this won't cross. Okay. You are paying fucking 3.2k less. Once again, I feel like you were getting a sick deal if you were buying BGS here, assuming you weren't trying to cross. The 10s just have the premium. I feel like this entire video should just be, should you hunt BGS slabs for a discount? Maybe. Maybe the market will mature that way and people start paying as much for BGS as for PSA, but right now it's just not the case. First edition PSA 9 Trihorn. You see this? You see this? Like, am I blind? Also, centering 9.5, by the way. Nice back. I know backs shouldn't weigh as much as fronts, but, like, this is worse than the Blue-Eyes Toon from earlier that got a 9. 9.5. Sold for 1.5. Yet the PSA 9 sold for 2.5. Really? Okay, this one's more faded, but whatever, right? Some people like faded, and it shouldn't be. Good job. Good job on your 9.5. Whoever bought this, just good job. PSA 10, Harpy Sped Dragon for 1.2. Red-Eyes Black Metal for 2.5. Wow, FMR on fire. CRU PSA 10 for 510. I get a lot of people asking, like, should I buy game promos like this? Because you know the DDS Blue-Eyes is so expensive, blah, blah, blah. Sure, but ask yourself why. Who's simping over CRU? It's not the same as the DDS Blue-Eyes. Just remember that. Cool card though. DDS PSA 10 Exodia 2.7. Again, pretty cheap way to own an Exodia without having to splurge on LOB. PSA 8 510. Alrighty. This is where shit gets fun, right? We have our DDS 9.5 for 10k. And we have a PSA 9 for 9.5k. So once again, maybe you got a good deal on the 9.5. But more importantly, you know what card is missing here? Do you know what card is missing here? I know what card is missing here. Our beautiful DDS Blue-Eyes that sold for 25k isn't here. I have personally checked that the cutoff date is today, well, earlier. And so anything not on this archive right now is considered not paid for. So our DDS all-time high of 25k, where once it hit, everyone was trying to sell their DDS at 25k and wasn't finding fucking buyers at 25k. Well, it looks like our buyer didn't pay. So DDS is not a 25k card because no one was willing to pay 25k for it. Is it Shillbit? I don't know. Maybe the buyer just, changed their mind or whatever. But now they will no longer be allowed to take part in any PWCC stuff. Because obviously someone was maybe willing to buy it for 23 or 22 or whatever price the previous bidder was at. They were maybe actually willing. But now they didn't get the card. And so you have people, not only ruining the market because now actual buyers aren't able to buy. And the card itself seems kind of like a joke because it was... Well, maybe it was Shillbit, but maybe it wasn't. But you're adding this fear and doubt and confusion regardless of what the situation was. And so DDS is not a 25k card. DDS last sale publicly currently is now still the 16 whatever. Have some sold in private? Maybe. I personally don't know, but it's very possible. I'm sure some DDS is still sold private because their pop is insanely high compared to the other Blue-Eyes. So I wouldn't be mind blown if amidst this, where these auctions were going so high, and then someone was like, oh, it's suddenly at 25. Oh, I'll sell at 21. And then just sold. Now it wasn't paid for, so its public all-time high is still 16k. Make of that what you will, but it's not 25. Next up, we have our BPT Red-Eyes for PSA 7 at 200 buckaroos. Was the BPT Red-Eyes actually paid for the 10? I don't remember that. Maybe we already saw it earlier. I don't know. So then some cool Bandai cards. Personally, I know very little of the Bandai cards. I've always been very open about that. I never collected these. I don't know the specifics. So a Blue-Eyes 325, a Red Hesade for 10. Okay. Oh, here this is the proper like dual. Yeah. Okay. So these I do know. It's just that these I never really collected much. 1.3 for the Red-Eyes for a 10. Solid. Mirror Force for 200. Dark Magician for 1.4. And a leg, and this is a completely different look, for 41. So the other cards here, like you see January 31, this is not the same block anymore. So yeah, that was interesting. A lot of all-time highs for a variety of Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I think the takeaways from this video is, if you bought BGS slabs in this, quite some of these were cheap as hell. So, sure they are intense, sure they wouldn't cross, maybe they would, but you were getting such a discount. Second, SDK Blue-Eyes sold for 21k, and again, a lot of other cards sold for all-time highs, but that's like a really big number. And third, the DDS wasn't fucking paid for. So no, it did not sell for 25 publicly. Those were my takeaways. What were your takeaways? Hope you found it interesting. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you soon. Ciao.